Good morning, students. In the last lecture, we had studied the proximate analysis of coal, and in this lecture, we will be studying the ultimate analysis of coal. Now, what is ultimate analysis of coal? This is also called elemental analysis because it is used for the estimation of, for the determination or estimation of the percentage of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, ash, and oxygen in the coal sample. Now this analysis, see, the earlier one did not require high precision and skill because all that was required was a simple muffle furnace, but here it requires a high degree of skill and equipments are also very expensive, and every element requires a separate technique for its determination. It gives exact results, and the results which we obtain by this, it is used to find out calorific value using the Dulong-Petit's formula. Now first is the estimation of carbon and hydrogen. See, the diagram is given here. So what we do is we take a weight amount, a known weight of a coal sample is taken in a crucible and it is placed in a combustion tube. Now air which is free from oxygen, air or oxygen which is free from moisture and carbon dioxide, it is inserted, it is let inside this combustion tube. Now it is heated. Combustion of the coal sample takes place. Whatever carbon is present in the coal sample gets converted into carbon dioxide, and whatever hydrogen is present gets converted into water. Now the carbon dioxide is absorbed in a U-tube containing potassium hydroxide, and water is absorbed in a U-tube containing calcium chloride. Now before starting the experiment, we weigh both these U-tubes, and after the experiment we again weigh these U-tubes. So the difference in weight will give us the weight of carbon dioxide formed and the weight of water formed. So once we know how much water is formed and how much carbon dioxide is formed, we can very easily calculate the percentage of carbon and hydrogen in that coal sample. Now this is the calculation how we do it. Suppose the weight of coal sample is x gram. The weight of KOH cube, that is the weight of carbon dioxide formed, is y gram. Increase in weight of CaCl2 tube, that is the weight of water formed, is z gram. Now how do we estimate how much carbon is there? See, when 44 gram of carbon dioxide is formed, that means the sample contains 12 gram carbon. So when y gram is formed, then it will contain how much carbon? 12 by 44 into y. Percentage will be 12 by 44 into weight of carbon dioxide upon weight of coal sample into 100. So this is the formula. Increase in weight of KOH cube means the weight of carbon dioxide formed. Similarly, you can find out hydrogen also. Now 18 grams of water is formed. When 18 grams of water is formed, the coal sample contains 2 grams of hydrogen. When Z gram is formed, then the coal sample contains 2 by 18 into Z gram of hydrogen. So the percentage of hydrogen will be 2 by 18 into weight of water formed upon weight of coal sample taken into 100. So this is how, by using this formula, we can find out the percentage of hydrogen in the coal sample. Now why do we need to know how much carbon and how much hydrogen is there? So what is the significance? As we had discussed in proximate analysis, greater the percentage of hydrogen, greater will be the calorific value of the fuel. Second thing, you must have seen, just recall, when we studied Dulong-Petit's formula, the calorific value of hydrogen was 34,500 maximum. So high percentage of hydrogen also increases calorific value of coal, but hydrogen is not present free in the fuel. It is generally found associated with volatile matter and also with water. So it affects the use to which coal is put. So we need to know how much hydrogen is there in the coal sample, how much carbon is there, so that we can decide where the coal has to be used and in what kind of industry we can use it safely. Now how can you estimate the percentage of nitrogen? This is done by Gelder's method. Now in this, what we do is we take a known amount of coal sample in a Geldas flask and it is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid in the presence of potassium sulfate. Whatever nitrogen is present in the coal sample gets converted into ammonium sulfate. It is filtered off and that filtrate is transferred into a round bottom flask. In the round bottom flask, it is treated with sodium hydroxide so that ammonia is liberated. This ammonia is absorbed on a known volume of standard sulfuric acid. So ammonia will react with sulfuric acid to give us ammonium sulfate. We will see the slides, equations, reactions in the next slide. Now excess sulfuric acid will be left behind, and this excess sulfuric acid, how much is left behind, that is calculated or estimated by back titration. And by subtracting, we will know how much sulfuric acid is consumed. Once you know how much sulfuric acid is consumed by the ammonia which was liberated, you can very easily find out the percentage of nitrogen in the coal sample. Now, before discussing the other things, let me tell you what is the significance. Nitrogen is an inert and incombustible gas. It has no calorific value, hence its presence in fuel is undesirable. Now here you can see this is the apparatus. The first one is the Geldas flask, where we take the coal sample, concentrated sulfuric acid and K2SO4. Then ammonium sulfate is formed. This ammonium sulfate is transferred into another flask where NaOH is added gradually. Whatever ammonia is liberated, that is absorbed in a known volume of standard sulfuric acid. So this is this. Now on the left hand side you can see what are the equations involved. The nitrogen from the coal reacts with sulfuric acid to give you ammonium sulfate. This ammonium sulfate in the round bottom flask reacts with NaOH, ammonia gas is liberated. This ammonia is absorbed on a known volume of standard sulfuric acid. Once again ammonium sulfate is used. So if we know how much sulfuric acid is consumed, we can find out how much nitrogen is present. So there is a long calculation on this. I am not discussing that. The final formula for the percentage of nitrogen is 1.4 into normality of sulfuric acid which we have taken for absorbing ammonia into volume of sulfuric acid used divided by the weight of coal sample taken. So this will give you the percentage of nitrogen in the coal sample. Now how can you estimate the percentage of sulfur? We take a known amount of coal sample and it is burnt in a bomb calorimeter. See, you can see everything requires a different experimental setup. Carbon and hydrogen required a combustion tube, nitrogen required Geldas apparatus, sulfur requires a bomb calorimeter. Now this coal, when it is burnt in the bomb calorimeter, the sulfur gets oxidized to sulfates. Whatever ash is formed, it is extracted with dilute sulfuric acid. Then this acid extract is treated with barium chloride. When you treat it with barium chloride, barium sulfate will precipitate out. We dry this barium sulfate precipitate and we take its weight. So once we know how much barium sulfate is formed, we can find out how much sulfur was there in the coal sample. How that is done, let us see. See, suppose the coal sample, weight of the coal sample was W gram and the weight of barium sulfate formed was X gram. So the weight of barium sulfate is, molecular weight is 233 grams. So 233 gram of barium sulfate contains 32 grams of sulfur. So X gram of barium sulfate will contain 32 by 233 into X gram. Percentage sulfur will be 32 upon 233 into weight of barium sulfate upon weight of coal sample into 100. So by this formula you can find out what is the percentage of sulfur in the coal sample. Now, why do we need to find out how much sulfur is present in the coal sample? See, sulfur increases the calorific value. Its calorific value is 2240. But still, the presence of sulfur in coal sample is undesirable because it gets oxidized and it produces sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, which causes environmental pollution. So generally a coal sample which contains sulfur is not preferred. Second reason is sulfur which is present in the coal sample. If sulfur containing coal is used in iron industry, then it affects the quality and properties of steel. So in case of steel industry, the coal that is used should be free of sulfur, it should not contain sulfur. So this is the significance of the estimation of sulfur in the coal sample. Now ash, how you find out ash, that we have already studied. It is determined by the proximate analysis. I am not repeating it again. It is the same method, means you have to find out by proximate analysis and you have to use the value here. Now to find out the percentage of oxygen, there is no direct method to find out experimentally find out how much oxygen is present. So oxygen is found out by subtracting. It is 100 minus the percentage of carbon plus hydrogen plus nitrogen plus sulfur plus ash. So that is how indirectly we find out how much oxygen is present in a given coal sample. So what is the significance of oxygen now? Oxygen is found associated with hydrogen, hence it reduces the hydrogen which is available for combustion. High oxygen content coals have high inherent moisture. Because the oxygen is found associated with hydrogen, that means it is present in the form of water. So those coals which have high oxygen content, they also have high moisture, hence the calorific value is less. So calorific value decreases by about 1.7% for every 1% increase in oxygen in the coal sample. Hence, a good quality coal should contain lesser amount of oxygen in it. Now once again, I have taken numerical problem for estimation of carbon and hydrogen, second is for sulfur and third is for nitrogen. So 0.25, now see, if you read this numerical, you will see that the weight of coal is given in the question, weight of carbon dioxide formed is given in the question, weight of water formed is given in the question. Now by placing these values in the formula, we can find out the percentage of carbon in the coal sample. Similarly, by placing the values, we can also find out the percentage of hydrogen in the coal sample, which works out to be 6.67%. Now second numerical, it is for the estimation of sulfur. Here the weight of coal sample is given as 1 gram. Then they have given that the weight of barium sulfate is 0.08 grams. So once again, you place the values in the formula. Weight of barium sulfate, it is given in the question, place it. Weight of coal sample is given in the question, we place it, and we get the percentage of sulfur in the coal sample. So these questions are direct formula substitution. So the values will be given in the question, you just substitute those values in the formula and you get the final answer. Third is on the basis of Gelder's method. 0.3 gram of coal sample on Gelder's analysis gave ammonia to just neutralize 30 milliliters of 0.1N sulfuric acid. Calculate the percentage of nitrogen in the coal sample. Now here the weight of coal sample is 0.3 grams. Volume of sulfuric acid used is 30 milliliters. Normality of sulfuric acid is 0.1. Now you place these values in the formula, you will get the percentage of nitrogen and that comes out to 14%. So I have taken numericals on all the three, that is carbon and hydrogen, nitrogen and sulfur. So with this we have finished off the ultimate analysis of coal and I hope you have understood. I have also dealt with numericals on this. For further practice, I will be at the end, I will be giving you worksheets with answers and everything for practicing. So you can practice from the book now. They are all direct sums, direct formula substitution. Thank you all. Thank you for listening to this lecture on ultimate analysis. Thank you students.